Some of the dangers of this outbreak, do you think they've been overblown? What do you think?
No, actually, I think that disease is very, very dangerous, especially if you have any kind of a health issue. I know that there are some in some of our viewers, in fact, who are beginning to wonder if the disease is overblown and it's being used to control us and to take away our freedoms. I do think it's being used to control us, but no, I don't think it's overblown. However, I do think that our Amendment rights and our 10th Amendment rights are being eroded. The 10th Amendment is essentially state and local rights. And when it comes to being told by the federal government, because there's a national emergency, that you have to behave a certain way on a local level, then the local government should have an opportunity to speak to that and to have issue with that. But one of the problems is that our administration, in some cases, is taking away our opportunity to, as a people, speak locally. And my biggest fear is that will be used to, as Derek said in the previous program, as in China, to control us almost like we are little microbots of the administration, of the government. We are going to lose our ability to speak up for Christ if that happens. And as Christians,
That's
that's our biggest worry.
exactly. That is so right on, Sharon. How realistic do you think, Sharon? And then we're going to get into another topic, but I just want to touch base with you guys on the whole COVID thing. How realistic, Sharon, do you believe that a vaccination could possibly be here by the end of the year?
I just don't see how that's possible. If they discovered today that a vaccine candidate absolutely works and that's the way to go, they still have to figure out what the dosage is in different age groups. They have to figure out how it really will have long-term effects within individual populations, and they have to create enough doses to vaccinate enough of the population that it will actually have a long-term effect. I think generally an 18-month window is about as narrow as you're going to find. They've been looking into this for what, 3 months? So at least another 15 months.
But the other thing to remember is that this is a variant of the virus that caused the SARS outbreak back in 2002 and 2003 in China.
There's no vaccine in for yet.
Exactly. So the Chinese have had almost 20 years to research this, and they still haven't developed a vaccine against the SARS coronavirus. This is just SARS-2. And so, I think if we're letting government get away with saying, well, we have to stay locked down until there's a vaccine, I'm sorry.
That's unrealistic.
Yeah. We need to understand why all of this is important. What is the end game that God has in mind? And he's revealed a lot of this to us. And we have been on our program, we're up through Revelation 6 now, which is the riders, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And we've been telling folks on our program that we believe those riders have been loose since the first century, that God let them loose. And he's basically being very patient so that as many as will accept his free offer of salvation will take advantage of it. But certainly we've seen through the ages how going back to the time of the prophet Jeremiah, Sharon pointed this out, and I think it's brilliant. When you look through Scripture, you often see God warning his people that if they continue to rebel, they will be chastised with war, famine, and pestilence. The sword, famine, and pestilence. Especially Jeremiah mentions it over and over. Sword, famine, pestilence, sword, famine, pestilence. That's essentially the weapons that those four riders in Revelation bring. The sword, war, famine, and pestilence. We're seeing all of those at work right now.
It's riders 2 through 3. The only thing you're missing really is rider number 1. And in this case, we believe rider number 1 was given permission to ride in the first century.
Right.